Hello and welcome to another episode of Geared Toward Gear. My name is Sean and I am so glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about my current favorite budget folding knife. That's right, this is my absolute favorite budget folder at the moment. It's fantastic and it is the Civivi Backlash, as you can see from the title. So standard Civivi cardboard box there. Just like we saw in the Civivi Elementum unboxing. The same pouch, which again I think for a knife that comes in, at about a $42 price point, to include a pouch like this is really nice. It comes with a couple of decals, it comes with a cleaning cloth, and it's just one of those super soft pouches you just want to take a nap in there. I think it would make for a nice place to take a little nap. And also, I was thinking about this, and I've actually done this with one of my other pouches. These are perfect for reading glasses. I wear reading glasses when I read books, like in bed at night, and I also use them on the computer sometimes for work, just to kind of relieve the eye strain. So if you need a nice reading glasses case, that's a way that you could repurpose that. So all those little bonuses, the cloth, the decals, the case, for a budget knife, you just don't really see that too often. Kubi does that on a couple of theirs, but a really nice touch, I think, from Civivi. And Civivi, for those that may not be familiar, is the budget line of WE knives. And WE knives, in my opinion, is probably in the top 2 or 3 production knife companies in China. They put out some amazingly high quality stuff, and Civivi is their budget brand. So this is the Civivi Backlash, and let's get the short version out of the way, shall we? So what we're looking at here is a G10 handle and a 9CR18 MOV blade. It is a flipper with an overall length of just over 8 inches. It's going to come in at a weight of 3.88 ounces. Going to be for tip-up right or left-handed carry, and have a price tag of about $42. So there's your short version. Let's get a couple size comparisons in right quick. We'll start with the Paramilitary 2, which is going to be just a bit longer. And we'll bring in the Benchmade Mini Griptilian, which is going to be quite a bit shorter. So it's definitely a full-size knife. It's not too dissimilar in overall length from the Paramilitary 2. It is about a 1/4 of an inch shorter. So I would say it is a full-size knife for sure, and a very good one at that. So let's talk about the blade a little bit. This blade shape is what spoke to me about this knife initially when I first saw it. And these are not new. These have been out for quite some time. I'm just, kind of getting around to it. It's the way things go sometimes. But this blade shape is just, to me, it's amazingly beautiful. It's a drop point, as you can see, with a nice swedge that runs the majority of that blade there. You do have a flat portion here for your consistent angle sharpening systems. You've got your forward finger choil. You've got a nice little thumb ramp that is jimped. And it's just a very attractive blade shape, in my opinion. You've got some belly, great slicer, got a nice acute point for piercing. It is a hollow grind, and it's a very well done hollow grind that gets down to a nice thin edge, and it just performs like a total champion. So I'm digging everything about the blade shape. It looks fantastic, and it performs really, really well. The other thing I love about this, and I mentioned this when I did my unboxing of the Civivi Elementum, is that it's a clean presentation. There's nothing on the blade, no markings on either side. It's just pure and clean, and I appreciate that so much. So yeah, that's the blade. And the blade steel I mentioned earlier on is 9CR18 MOV. Not a super steel, it's a budget steel. But one of the things to keep in mind with your 8CR13s and your 9CR18s and all of these steels is that they are steels that were designed as blade steels for cutlery. So it's not a super steel, it's not even really mid-range, but it's still a blade steel. It'll still get the job done. It'll take a little maintenance, but there's nothing wrong with it. And 9CR18 is also quite corrosion resistant, so if you live in a humid climate, might be a good option for you. So that is the blade. The handle is made from G10, as I mentioned, and it comes in a number of colors. So you can get it in black, which you see here. You can get it in green. You can get it in tan. You can also get it in carbon fiber and ebony. And the carbon fiber and ebony versions, it's just this middle section of G10 that you see here that is kind of overlaid with either the ebony or the G10. So it's not a full ebony scale or a full carbon fiber scale. It's just that middle section of G10 that would be replaced by either carbon fiber or ebony if you want to class it up a little bit. So you do have a couple options there when it comes to the handle colors, which is cool, you know, to have those options. The length of the handle is going to be just over 4.5 inches, like 4.6, and it's gonna have a thickness of almost exactly 1/2 of an inch. So it's not gonna take up a ton of space in the pocket, and you can obviously see those nice blue liners there, which we'll talk about. So a good looking handle. Again, very clean. You just have the Civivi logo there on your pivot on the show side, and then your Torx adjustment there on the other. All of your hardware is stainless. It's nested. It is silver in color, and just a good looking handle if you ask me. It's a kind of a partial flow through design, as you can see. It does have a back spacer here towards the end, and a lanyard tube as well, and that would certainly accommodate some 550 cord if you so choose. And then you'll also notice the 2 screw holes there for rotating your pocket clip for left-handed carry. So definitely an ambidextrous knife. If you can operate a liner lock with your left hand, then this is totally ambidextrous. So I do like that. We don't want to forget about the lefties. It's nice to include them. So I talked about the liners. So it does have full steel liners. They're not nested, and they're gorgeous. They're this nice kind of iridescent blue color, which to me is an amazingly beautiful touch that's not overdone. It's not gaudy. It doesn't jump in your face and scream at you. From certain angles, you don't even see it, but it's there, and I think it looks great. And I'm a big fan of the kind of black and blue theme, so for me, those liners are totally killer. It is a liner lock, as you can see, and it locks up at about 30%, I would say. And you can see that texturing on the liner lock itself. You don't have a ton of real estate to get your thumb in there, but as you can see, that liner kind of sits proud of the scale. So getting your thumb in there to disengage this is a total breeze. It's definitely fun to play with. And while we're doing that, let's check out the centering. It is dead center, right down the middle. So overall quality control seems to be fantastic on this knife, as it is on the Civivi Elementum. So nothing to complain about there. The action on this, as we mentioned, is a flipper. You've seen me flip it a couple times, and there is your flipper tab. It is textured, so it gives you a little bit of grip to get onto that guy. And it does run on bearings, and I'm trying to remember if it runs on, it's stainless bearings. They're not ceramic, they're stainless, which is fine. So ball bearing washers is what this runs on, which, you know, I feel like at this point, with the kind of budget Chinese folders that are coming in this kind of general price range, for the most part, they seem to be running on a ball bearing washer as opposed to just a standard washer. And that's fine. I don't always need ball bearings, but it certainly doesn't hurt. It makes for a nice action, and this definitely has a nice snappy action, and it's super smooth. So action's fantastic. I like the sound that it makes. I just feel like it has a good sound to it. So I really do like the action quite a lot. We talked about the lockup. It's nice and strong. There's no blade play, up, down, left, right, no lock rock, no lock stick. You've got a little stop pin there that's going to stop your blade, obviously. And so yeah, just very strong and secure. No complaints on the lockup whatsoever. As far as texture is concerned, it's really just going to be the jimping on the spine of the blade and on the flipper tab itself, which we can see there. And then of course the liner lock. The G10 is really well done. I like the texture on this G10. It's kind of medium traction, I would call it. It's not aggressive whatsoever. It's not smooth. It's kind of right in that middle ground that I tend to prefer with G10, where I feel like I've got a good grip. It's not going anywhere, but it's not like sticking to my hands, like causing rug burns type of texture. So I like that a lot. Ergonomically speaking, if we look at the handle shape here, let me see if I'll just set it down, that'll be easier. It's a pretty neutral shape, you know, just kind of a gentle sweep on the back here. You do have a bit of a cutout in the front for your first 2 fingers, and it's comfortable. It's quite comfortable actually for my large hand, and I think for most hand sizes you could find a grip that would be comfortable for you as well. My thumb happens to land perfectly on that little thumb ramp in this very, very well done purposeful jimping, so I do like that kind of saber grip choked back. The forward finger choil, although it's not done perfectly, it's still usable, even for my big hand. So kind of the way I tend to use forward choils is I wrap my finger into it and I pull back at like a 45-degree angle towards that pivot right there. And that just kind of keeps my finger moving in this direction and not wanting to move in that direction. So I can choke up on this and squeeze as hard as I can and feel pretty confident that I'm not going to creep up on the blade. So if you have large to medium-sized hands, it's going to be very usable for sure. So I do like that you can choke up if you would like to, but even just in a kind of full four-finger saber grip back here, still very comfortable. And in using this, I haven't found a grip really that's uncomfortable, to be honest with you. Pocket clip here is a deep carry loop over design. The hardware is recessed. It's super easy to get in the pocket. The spring tension is decent, so the retention is pretty good. No concerns with this leaving my pocket whatsoever. So overall, I am extraordinarily happy with this knife. And I think the thing about it that I like the best is the way it performs. That blade shape is very versatile, again, for piercing, for slicing, for food prep, and that nice hollow grind with a thin edge. I appreciate that type of a grind so much, and it's just done so well on this knife. And it's comfy, it looks great, and at 42 bucks, I think it's a great buy for just a kind of all-around general purpose EDC folder. So that has been the Civivi Backlash. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon.